હવે તમે વિચાર કરો કે આવતે વર્ષ 50 વર્ષ થશે આપણને કે નીકળી ગયા, તો તમને શું લાગે છે કે આપણે શું જરૂર છે આ કહેવાની આપણી ઇતિહાસ?
કઈ જરૂર
નથી જરૂર. Okay. And Ryhana, do you think that there is a need to tell the stories?
100%, because it's a story of survival. Absolutely. It's a story of survival. It's a story of making lemonade out of lemons when we were literally uprooted. And the thing is, it didn't really, to me, I was just living my life day to day. As my children got older and older and they see the Syrian refugee situation and everything, that's when my older daughter said to me, like, Mom, you were a refugee. How did you do this? And they are now interested in what we went through and all that. Before it was, oh, that's Mom's story. That's Mom's story.
Hello and karibuni. This is Expulsion at 50, an oral history project using podcasts. My name is Rubab Hassanali. In this episode, Rubab Ben, aged 92, and her daughter Ryhana share their story of leaving Uganda and ending up in New York City via Rome, Italy. એટલે જ્યારે તમે પરણી ગયા પછી તમે ઝાંઝીબાર થી ત્યાં યુગાન્ડા ગયા.
હા.
ને તમને યુગાન્ડામાં શું યાદ આવે છે? તમારી જિંદગી ત્યાં તમે 1961 માં પહોંચ્યા તો ત્યાં 13 વર્ષ તમે રહ્યા. તમને કેવું લાગ્યું હતું ત્યાં?
ફાઇન લાગ્યું, મને ગમતું હતું.
એટલે શું કારણ તમને ગમતું હતું?
કોઈ તકલીફ નહીં હતી, નોકર ચાકરની, ઘરની, પૈસાની. બાજુમાં અમારા સારા પાડોશી હતા બધા. ફાઇન હતા.
ત્યાં શું કરતા હતા?
હું કાંઈ નહોતી કરતી, હાઉસવાઈફ હતી.
ને છોકરાઓ માટે કેવું હતું?
ફાઇન હતું, સારું હતું. ડે કેરમાં જતા હતા, ભણતા હતા, પછી સ્કૂલમાં જતા હતા. ફાઇન હતું, સારું હતું, મને ગમતું હતું યુગાન્ડા.
ને પછી હવે 1972 માં અનાઉન્સમેન્ટ કર્યું પ્રેસિડેન્ટે, તો પછી તમને શું લાગ્યું?
ત્યારે બહુ અઘરું લાગ્યું, કારણ બધું લઈ લીધા ને અમારી પાસેથી, કાંઈ ન દીધું. દાગીના, પૈસા બધું લઈ લીધું, ખાલી સોચી દીધા, બસ કાંઈ ન દીધું. ફર્નિચર હતા ઘરમાં, બેંકમાં કેશ હતા, પછી ફેક્ટરી હતી બે ડ્રેસની હતી, પછી ખીલાની ફેક્ટરી હતી, ને પોતે કામ કરતા હતા બેંકમાં. એ બધું મૂકી દીધા, પછી કાંઈ ન દીધું, ખાલી સોચી લીધા આપ્યા અમને.
So let me clarify. He was an accountant. He worked in a bank, but he owned a factory with somebody else, even though he didn't work at the factory.
Okay, સમજ્યું. એટલે બધું પછી ત્યાં મૂકી દીધું. એટલે તમારા હસબન્ડ ને પાસપોર્ટ કયો હતો?
યુગાન્ડા પાસપોર્ટ, અમે સિટીઝન હતા ત્યાંના.
ને આંટી તમારો પાસપોર્ટ કયો હતો?
બેનું સરખું જ હતું.
એટલે યુગાન્ડા પાસપોર્ટ હતા ને તમને હક હતો કે ત્યાં રહી શકો?
યુગાન્ડા સિટીઝન, હા, યુગાન્ડા સિટીઝન હતા. પછી અમારી પાસે આઈડેન્ટિટી કાર્ડ હતો કે તમે રહી શકો છો અહીંયા. જ્યારે બધા નીકળતા હતા, પણ અમને કાર્ડ દીધું કે તમે ના નીકળો તો વાંધો નથી, તમને રજા છે અહીંયા રહેવાની. કે અમને તો રજા છે રહેવાની, અમે યાદી નતા કરતા, આરામથી બેઠા. પછી એ લોકો લો કર્યા કે તમારી છોકરીઓ અમારા છોકરાને પરણશે ને અમારા છોકરી તમારા છોકરા, એ અમને ન ગમે. એટલે પછી અમે નીકળી ગયા.
પછી શું થયું? હવે ઓગસ્ટમાં એને કાયદો કાઢ્યો, પછી 3 મહિના પછી તમે ત્યાં જ હતા, નવેમ્બર સુધી.
હા, હું ચાલી ગઈ પછી કામ મૂકીને દાર્સલામ બચ્ચા લઈને.
અચ્છા, તમે નીકળી ગયા હતા વહેલા.
નહીં, પછી પાછી ડેડલાઈન પહેલા પાછી આવી ગઈ.
So during those 3 months, my dad felt it was because my younger brother was only a year and a half old. So he sent me, my younger brother, and my mom to Dar es Salaam. He said, because my mom's brother was there, and he said, why don't you go there while things calm down? And a few days before the 3-month deadline, he called us and said, come back because the borders are closing. When we came back, it was complete chaos.
With heightened insecurity and uncertainty, Ryhana's father relinquished his Ugandan citizenship and became stateless. He then appealed to various agencies for help to leave the country.
So he had gone to, I remember at the Independence Hall, all these representatives of the United Nations were there. So he went to them and said, look, I have a family. I don't want to live here for this reason, whatever. The UN said, I'm sorry, but our quota's already done. We don't have any more room to take you, for none of the nations have room.
Ryhana's family was helped by the Hebrew Immigration Aid Society, or HIAS, an American humanitarian organization that has been helping refugees escape persecution and enabling them to resettle in safety.
So this company gave us 3 tickets, and there were 5 of us. And on the last day of the 3-month period, when there was a blackout and everything, is when we fled. And there were only 3 plane tickets. So I remember sitting on the plane. It was my dad, my mom, holding my younger brother, and my older brother, who was 12 years old, and I was 10. He and I shared one seat. My mom and the baby had the other seat, and my dad had the 3rd seat. And they flew us to Rome. We were there for 3 weeks, and then 3 weeks later, they brought us to America, and they gave us an envelope with $35 and a promise of a job. So we landed like on a Thursday, I think. And they told my dad that, okay, here, as of Monday, you have a job at this bank. Here's $35. We'll keep you in a hotel till Monday, or you need to find an apartment on your own. So that's what we did.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
And how old were you then, Ryhana?
I was 10.
What do you remember about your childhood in Kampala?
I loved it so much so that when I came here for almost 2 to 3 years, my one wish when I would go to sleep would be like, oh my God, please, when I wake up tomorrow morning, let me be back in my in my house in Kampala. I loved my school. I loved my teachers. I loved the activities we did during school, the sports day. Every Friday we had Quran classes. I loved my teacher. I'm very much of a geek and a nerdy person, so it was ideal for me. The other thing too, there were 7 of us, my cousins. So I was the youngest of the group. So it was nice to see my brothers and my cousins all in the same school. It was just a wonderful life.
માસી તમે રોમમાં હતા ને પછી તમે અમેરિકા આવ્યા પછી તમને તમારી જિંદગી ત્યાં અમેરિકામાં કેવી છે કેવી હતી ત્યાં 1972 માં?
તકલીફ હતી ને, એક તો પૈસા હાથમાં નહીં, કામ કોઈ દિવસ કરેલું નહીં, નોકર ચાકર બટેવાઈ ગયા હતા, વસ્તુ કાંઈ નહીં ઘરમાં, બ્લેન્ડર, પાસી, કોઈ ચીજ નહીં, કપડાય પૂરા નહીં, તકલીફ તો ખરી. શું કરીએ?
ને પછી ભાષા
મને ઇંગ્લિશ નથી આવડતી, બિલકુલ નહીં. એક શબ્દ બી નહીં.
Because she didn't speak the language, and now all the housework. And remember, we're used to getting all our spices and everything. She had brought spices from there, but she had to make it last because she didn't know how long until she would get the next one, right? In the 70s here, we were not common. The Indians were not common. There was nothing available to us. And it was difficult. I remember her struggling a lot. And because of the drastic change in weather, we went from spring to November here, it was very cold. So my younger brother developed asthma. To take him to the hospital, my dad's mentality changed a little bit in that now my older brother had to focus on school, me not so much. So he would tell me, okay, if your mom has to take your brother to school, to the hospital rather, you have to come out of school. So I would have to leave school to take my mom. We would have to travel in the subway to go to the hospital because I was just a translator because I knew English because in international school, the medium of teaching was English.
So you arrived, it was cold, you didn't know, how to navigate the space. There's issues about, getting spices, which is a very common experience, of people who ended up in the UK, in the US, and many other places. It sounds like, Ryhana, you had to grow up very, very fast. Huh?
Absolutely. That's my childhood was robbed. I had to go from being a 10-year-old to being a 20-year-old because I had the responsibilities of groceries, of my brother whenever he was sick, of helping my mom with her English.
And your mom, auntie, kaam karta tha?
નહીં.
No, she worked at home. Like she would do odds and ends. She would do tailoring. She would do babysitting, things like that. She didn't go outside the house to work.
During the time of the expulsion, it wasn't uncommon for family members to get separated. Ryhana, can you tell us about your connection to Sweden?
Because when we came back from Dar es Salaam, not only the schools were dispersed, but family members had already left. So my dad's brother, who to me, honestly, if you ask me where we lived, I'm like, we lived here and there. We lived on those two houses. They left, but we didn't know where they were. So some UN organization took them. 2-3 years later, after we came here, so my dad had an open house policy. Anybody new that would come to America, they would land in our house. He would set them up. He would help them out. So this one gentleman had come from Sweden to visit somebody, and he's like, "Oh, you're from Uganda? Do you, whatever?" We were just talking, and then he goes, "By the way, how are you related to this person?" And my dad's like, you could see the look of shock on his face. Like, what do you mean? He goes, "Do you know this person? Because he has the same last name as you." And my dad's like, "That's my brother. How do you know where he is?" He goes, "Oh no, he lives in Sweden this is his wife. These are her children." So it was about 3 years after we came here that we realized where he was. And then we established contact with that.
Wow, that's quite something, huh? That for 3 years, your father didn't know where his brother was.
No, we didn't know. We had no way of reaching. How would we find out?
And tell me, Ryhana, are they still in Sweden?
Yes. From the moment we established contact, we've been in contact with them. My uncle came here to visit us and everything. My dad went to Sweden to visit him. My brother goes there. Now, of course, both my aunt and uncle have passed, but my cousins are there.
Yes. So it's almost 50 years since this life-changing event happened. When you reflect on that time, what comes up for you?
Personally, I hated it. I hated it for the first, I don't know how many years, because I didn't know anybody. Even our own community, there were people that we knew here, 1 or 2 people that we knew, but then the other people that were migrating here, they were coming from Dar es Salaam. Nobody from Uganda was here, so I didn't know anybody. But looking back, I'm gonna say it was the best thing that happened to us because of the opportunities that were provided to us, right?
So what would you like to say are the main lessons and the main insights that, someone listening to this, to your story, to your mother's story, that you would like to share with them?
That human beings are resilient. Honestly, whatever you throw at them, if the will to survive is there, they'll do it. They will absolutely do it. And I think the core values that you have are very important. It's imperative. I cannot stress it enough. It's absolutely imperative that education be in the forefront of everything. Because without that, your survival skills are not there, your ability to understand your situation, your coping mechanism, none of that will be there if you don't understand what's happening to you. And the only way you can understand is by educating yourself. Don't judge us by the success we have now. You don't know what we've gone through. You know, we put on a brave front, we go to day-to-day functions, we survive, we do what we need to do, but ask me what I've done, ask me what I've gone through. There's so much more that I saw, that my brother saw, that we don't speak of. I even saw things during the revolution that extremely traumatizing. In front of our building, I saw things. Until till today, I can't listen to firecrackers or anything like that because it brings me back.
So you'd heard a lot of gunshots, huh?
I did. I saw a lot of gunshots. I saw people getting killed. Yeah, the last few days, they came to the house with guns. And I remember we used to have these cupboards that had like a hidden drawer at the bottom. And they knew about it. So they asked my mom, open that drawer and get things out. And she had to give it up.
And what do you think can be done to support people who, are still experiencing, maybe unconsciously have suppressed, the pain and the trauma?
It wasn't until recently that I can talk about things now, because we didn't talk about it when we came here. Oh my God, because there's a huge community of people from Uganda who live about 3 hours away from us in the state of Pennsylvania. So we would meet with each other for prayers or for whatever, but nobody spoke about what had happened to us. And I think that's a huge mistake, because especially women, the men, it was just, okay, if I'm not going to work here, I'll work somewhere else. Women had to redo everything. They were used to maids, they were used to help. The women needed some kind of a support group. The children needed support group. And that I felt was completely lacking in the community. There was I would like to see conversations. I would love to hear other people's survival stories so that I don't feel alone. I would like to see pictures of back home of what I remember, because I don't see anything. I have nothing.
Yeah.
I want to know what other people did to survive, and when their dreams changed, what did they change it to? What did they want and what they ended up with?
Thank you for listening. If you have a story that you'd like to share, I would love to hear from you. The email address is expulsion50@gmail.com. Till next time, keep well and safe.